All right, guys, this was the third game in 4 nights, the back end of a back-to-back for the Utah Jazz, going into Boston after a disappointing loss in Philadelphia, and somehow the Utah Jazz get a victory. This is Hanson James, the Utah Jazz postgame show on the Hoopsner channel. Really surprising victory for the Utah Jazz, but I guess not surprising considering that their shooting actually showed up tonight. One of the biggest things about this game and last night's game really is the Jazz really actually played well last night. Donovan Mitchell was scoring, and the big story was 35 shots, 31 points, but that was because he went 1 for 11 from 3. And the Jazz lost in a 6-point loss against Philadelphia where they missed 16 free throws. They should have won that game. That's what that was, that's why that game was frustrating. Tonight, the shots were going in, the free throws were going in, and they get the win. Let's talk a little bit about Boston, and then we'll talk about Utah. Hayward looked a little better to me tonight. He had a few moments where he looked like vintage Hayward from Utah. Honestly, with Hayward, he doesn't look that different to me right now than he did when he was in Utah. Having watched about 500 Hayward games and some of them multiple times, this is about what he looks like. He just looks tentative. He went to the rim tonight, though, to dunk the ball at one point. Got blocked by Donovan, which was an incredible block by Donovan, but he looked a little better. He looked like he had a little bit of fire to him finally that he hasn't really had this season. When he gets that back, he's going to be a much more effective player. The thing that's interesting, and having watched, I don't watch every Boston game, but I watch about 5 to 10 Boston games a year just because the Celtics are interesting. Hayward had a very specific style in Utah that seems a little bit different. Well, it's very different than what they run in Boston. In Utah, when Hayward was on the Jazz, they had the slowest pace in the NBA, and they ran a very deliberate half-court style where you had like double screens from Favors and Gobert to open up space in the middle of the floor where Hayward would knock down that mid-range jumper. If the player went on their screen, he'd knock down that three-point shot and make the pass. But it was a very slow, deliberate pace. With Boston, it's a 5-out system. It's like screen your man and beat him to the rim, and that's not really Hayward's game. And Hayward's never been a very big transition player either. So it's going to take time for him to integrate, and I thought that would happen last year. Obviously, they had the injury. This year, there's growing pains, and we expected this last year, but it's happening this year, which is to be expected. Big part of this game was also Kyrie Irving getting in foul trouble, and sometimes that happens. 5 fouls, and it was like didn't even play most of the second half, and by the time he got in, the game was pretty much out of hand. So that was lucky for the Jazz, bad luck for the Celtics. The Celtics will figure it out, but they are going to have to. There's some playing style issues that are with that team that I'm actually shocked they have such a high defensive rating too, because at least when Utah plays them, it seems like there's a lot of lanes to the basket, and they don't have like a traditional rim protector. Horford's an incredible offensive player, and he's a very smart defender on the defensive end where his ability to switch and be in the right spot is really, really good. But he's not a rim protector. And so, I don't know. Boston's interesting. They'll get better, though. They've got a lot of talent. They've got a lot of weapons. They'll figure it out. But it's going to take time. It's like a clash of cultures, and they've got to figure out how to integrate all the different strengths and styles into something that flows with everybody. And right now, it feels like different styles at the same time. All right, Utah looked great, finally. There's been like 3 games where the Jazz played well, and 2 of them have been against the Celtics. So sorry, Celtics fans. Donovan Mitchell was incredible tonight. His 3-point shot was falling. He was getting to the rim. He looked like he had a bounce in his step, which is crazy because the Jazz were on the 3rd game in 4 nights. But they figured it out. Once that shot was falling, he was electric. He had 6 assists tonight, too, and I promise you, if you talk to Donovan in the locker room, he will tell you more about the 6 assists than he will about the 28 points. But what's nice is when Donovan is efficient with his shooting and he's, slinging the ball around like that, the Jazz are really, really good. And Rudy Gobert is absolutely just a dominating force. Anyone who ever says anything about Rudy Gobert, like with his box score stats, is not watching Rudy Gobert enough, because he scored 12 points tonight, had 9 rebounds, and was the most dominant player on the floor for the Jazz. He was absolutely just his screens opened up Donovan Mitchell. His finishing at the rim for lobs. His ability to defend at the other end. Tonight, Rudy Gobert had one block. I thought he had more. That one block was Marcus Smart going right at Rudy Gobert. That went about as what you expected. I don't know what Marcus Smart is doing going right at Rudy Gobert like that, but it went how it always goes when people do that. Derek Favors was also a beast tonight, and he was catching lobs all night. 10 points. I swear every single one of those was a alley-oop from either Ricky Rubio or Dante Exum. And guess what? Ricky Rubio and Dante Exum played really well. There's this thing where you can like both of them. And if they both play well, we can give props to both of them. You don't have to like one or the other. You can like both of them. And you can root for both of them. It's not one or the other. If Rubio plays great, we win. If Exum plays great, that really helps us win. Exum plays less minutes because he comes off the bench. So that's tough. But when Rubio plays, we win. It's great. If he can keep it up, the Jazz are going to be really, really good. To start the season, the Jazz have been playing with 3 non-shooters, and Donovan's struggling from 3. And there's no surprise we're 8-8. It's basically we can't score at times. But if Rubio, and he looked better last night, and tonight he looked really good, scored 20 points. Shout out Jazz Twitter, literally subtweeted me. I saw the tweet. I saw it. And I'm just being honest. I'm the only one who's going to be honest. No one else in that locker room will ask the questions we will ask at SLC Dunk. You don't know. Makes me so frustrated that people won't ask the questions or say the truth. See the things you're saying. But it's okay. Ricky Rubio played really well. Dante Exum played really well. Tonight, the Jazz were unbeatable. They would have beaten anybody. And that's exciting if you're a Jazz fan. Now, the question is, can we keep it up? Can we continue to play well? Can Donovan keep hitting shots? Can Rubio keep playing efficient shooting games where he doesn't turn the ball over too much and foul Embiid in the last play of the game? Don't do that. If he can do that, then we will win games and go deep in the playoffs. The Jazz had a chance to really compete with Houston last year in the playoffs. Just Rubio got hurt. And if we're getting playoff Rubio back, that's exciting because Rubio's really good. I like Ricky Rubio. Stop telling me I hate Ricky Rubio. I like Ricky Rubio. I just want him to play well, and I like the Jazz, and I want him to win. All right, guys. Like and subscribe this video. The Jazz are going to start winning more games. They played well against the Sixers, the Boston Celtics, the best in the East. They got to keep winning, though. They got to keep consistent. That's the problem with this team. Consistency is the key. Can you do it every single game? Or at least more often than not? Lately, it's been half the time. Let's get more consistent. All right, talk to you later.